After his mother and ex-wife left, Taehyung let out a shaky breath and rubbed his face in frustration. He stared at his trembling hands, a heavy weight of guilt settling in his chest for having been so aggressive toward his own mother. God, forgive me. I never meant to hurt her. I just couldn't stand by and watch her treat people like that anymore, he whispered to the empty room. A few moments later, Taehyung looked up as he heard the soft sound of footsteps. It was YN. He immediately walked toward her, his eyes filled with regret. Taehyung, looking at her tenderly. This must hurt. He gently brushed his thumb over her reddened cheek. This too. He lightly touched the spot where his mother had pulled her hair. I am so incredibly sorry for what my mother did. YN, shaking her head. I'm fine. You should go find her and apologize. No matter what, you shouldn't have been that rough with your own mother. And Yojin was right about one thing, she only wants what's best for you. Look, you're my past, and I'm yours. I never intended to come back into your life or have things go back to the way they were. If you're hoping for a second chance, I'm sorry, but I can't. Just forget about everything and move on. Taehyung, with a pained smile. It's easy to say that when you aren't the one living through it. I won't force you, but I'm not giving up. What we had was too strong. I know deep down you'll come back to me. YN. No, it's not us anymore. It's just you, she said, her voice turning icy. Taehyung. Why? YN even after all this time, my feelings haven't shifted. I love you just as much as I did back then. Is it really that easy for you to just? YN. I don't love you anymore, Taehyung. Taehyung. Then I'll make you fall for me all over again. YN. You won't be able to, because my heart belongs to someone else now. She lied, keeping her face perfectly blank. Taehyung. You're lying. YN. Believe whatever helps you sleep at night. She turned and walked away, leaving Taehyung standing there, paralyzed by her words. YN retreated to Taeyo's room and sank to the floor beside his bed. She pressed a hand against her mouth, stifling her sobs so she wouldn't wake the child. She clutched her chest, trying to ease the suffocating pressure building inside. For 3 long years, she had tried to erase him from her mind. Her lips could claim she was over him, but her heart was a traitor. The fact that his name was still written all over her soul was her own private torture. Even so, the thought of going back felt impossible. Memories of 3 years ago flooded back, the way he promised to fight for her, only to suddenly cut her off and marry Yojin shortly after. The betrayal still stung like a fresh wound. Wiping her eyes aggressively, she pulled out her phone and dialed Jungkook. YN. Jungkook. I need to borrow some money. I'm going back to Busan. Jungkook. What? Why? Did you and Taehyung have another fallout? Jungkook. YN. Listen to me. Taehyung is desperate for a nanny, and Taeo actually likes you. Besides, you need the money, don't you? YN. I can't stay here. I'll just find work back in Busan. Jungkook let out a long, frustrated sigh. What exactly happened between you and Kim Taehyung? Did you two know each other back at university? He studied in Daegu, and so did you, right? YN didn't answer. Just tell me if you can lend me the money. I need to leave. Jungkook. Not until you tell me the truth. What's the deal with you and Taehyung? YN. That's private, Jungkook. I'm not talking about it. Jungkook went silent for a beat, his voice turning cautious when he spoke again. Jungkook. YN. Were you the girl he was with back in college? Even though they were cousins, Jungkook hadn't been part of Taehyung's life in Daegu. He was a soul boy through and through, and Taehyung only moved to the city after his life took a dark turn. YN. Jungkook. Please, just drop it. Jungkook. If you are that girl, then do you even know what he went through 3 years ago? Do you know he fell into a massive depression? That he tried to end his life more than once? YN froze, the air leaving her lungs. She had no idea. After the breakup, he had vanished, only resurfacing in the tabloids when he married Yeojin. Jungkook, YN he was in hell. Especially after the news broke that Yeojin was carrying his child. In's brow furrowed in confusion. Jungkook, look, he didn't leave you because he wanted to. He was backed into a corner. Yeojin claimed she was pregnant, and if he didn't marry her, the Kim family name would have been dragged through the mud, and Taehyung father's company would have collapsed. YN. Wait, Taehyung, he got her pregnant. She whispered, tears blurring her vision again. Jungkook, it's not what you think. He was trapped. If you want the real story, you need to talk to him. He's the only one who can explain the mess he was in. Jungkook, YN you might have suffered when it ended, but trust me, Taehyung's pain was much, much worse. Jungkook, just listen to him. Hear him out before you decide to run away to Busan. I'll be waiting to hear what you decide, he said, before the line went dead. YN stood in silence, her eyes fixed on the handsome toddler sleeping peacefully. YN, should I actually listen to him? She whispered to herself. Ting, a notification popped up on her phone. It was a message from Jungkook. Listen to what Taehyung has to say. Don't let yourself live with regrets later, Jungkook. YN gripped her phone tightly. She closed her eyes for a moment, taking a long, deep breath before slowly exhaling. She stood up and walked toward the door. As she opened it, she was startled to find Taehyung already standing there, waiting. Taehyung, I'm not going to let you walk away, YN he said, his voice laced with sorrow. YN looked at him with trembling eyes. She forced herself to find her voice. Fine, let's talk. I want to hear your reasons. I just want to know why you threw everything away. A faint, relieved smile touched Taehyung's lips as he nodded. He led her to the room next door, right beside Taeyo's nursery. They sat across from each other, their eyes locked in an expression that was hard to read. Taehyung, I'm sorry. It must have been so painful back then, especially since I ended things over a phone call, he said softly. Taehyung, YN I never intended to break up with you. I never wanted to marry Yeojin. But there was an incident that forced my hand. YN remained quiet, listening intently to his words. Taehyung, Yeojin got pregnant with my child. But YN I swear to God, I have no memory of ever being intimate with her. I eventually found out she trapped me using alcohol and drugs that completely blacked me out. It happened during a business event I attended with my parents. I only had a little to drink, but for some reason, I lost consciousness almost instantly. I woke up the next morning in a hotel, still fully clothed. Taehyung, and it didn't just happen once. I was so stupid, I didn't realize what was going on. I just thought I had a low tolerance for the alcohol. Taehyung, I only found out the truth when Yeojin came to me and said she was pregnant. That woman was insane, she even showed me a video of her touching me while I was completely out cold. Taehyung, and you know what the worst part is? My mother knew. She was the one who helped Yeojin pull off the whole plan. YN sat there, completely paralyzed by the shock of his confession. Taehyung, YN even with that video evidence, I insisted on a DNA test while she was still pregnant. The result came back, 99% match. I was destroyed. I couldn't even speak, I just sat there, staring into nothing. Taehyung, eventually, I lost control of my emotions. I lashed out at the people who had ruined my life. I went into such a blind rage that my father suddenly had a heart attack. 2 hours later, he was pronounced dead. Tears began to stream down In's face. She never imagined he had been carrying a burden this heavy. Taehyung, YN my family and I were on the brink of total collapse. I was consumed by anger, but I had no choice but to obey my mother to save the company, everything my father had worked so hard to build. YN began to sob, her heart breaking for him. Taehyung, the constant pressure and the endless trauma broke me. I started suffering from severe anxiety and began having suicidal thoughts. Every day felt like a living hell. My mental state only got worse after the wedding. Taehyung, I can't even count how many times I almost ended it all. Taehyung, my mother cried and begged me to live a normal life. I agreed and promised to get better, but I had one condition: I wanted a divorce. Surprisingly, she agreed, and so did Yojin, as long as I didn't cut contact since she was the mother of my child. Taehyung, it hasn't been easy starting over, especially raising a child whose existence I never wanted. YN, Tayo might have been born from a mistake, but please, don't hate your own son. YN said, her voice raw with emotion. Taehyung shook his head slowly. I only regret my own stupidity. If I had been more careful, I wouldn't have a child with a woman like her. Tayo should have been yours. My first marriage should have been to you. I'm so sorry, YN. I am so sorry. YN bowed her head and broke down, covering her face as she sobbed uncontrollably. It wasn't just about their broken relationship anymore, it was the realization of how much Taehyung had suffered. She had spent years thinking she was the only one who was hurt, never knowing he was drowning in a much deeper darkness. Taehyung, YN. I know it's a lot to ask for you to take me back, especially since I have a child with someone else. But I'm never going to stop trying to win you back. YN couldn't find the words to respond, she could only cry, her sobs echoing with the weight of 3 years of hidden pain. "5 p.m. Jungkook's residence. YN was back at Jungkook's house after finishing her shift at Taehyung's. She was currently sitting in the living room with Jungkook and Seokjin. Jungkook, so, what's the verdict? Are you still planning to go back to Busan? YN remained silent, her mind a tangled mess of confusion. Seokjin, YNSSI, we aren't here to force you to stay. But as Taehyung's oldest cousin, all I can tell you is that he needs you. He has endured so much, and you are his only source of happiness. At the end of the day, though, the choice is yours. YN, honestly, I don't know what to do. I want to go home, but Jungkook, but you're starting to feel like you can't leave him behind, right? YN, what happened in the past wasn't what Taehyung wanted. He never asked for that marriage, let alone to have a child with Yojin. Jungkook, he has suffered enough, YN. Jungkook, he spent all this time searching for you. We offered to help him find you so many times, but he always refused and never revealed your identity. We had no idea you were his ex until now. But look at this, fate brought you two back together through me. Jungkook, that has to mean you're meant to be. Seokjin nodded in solemn agreement. YN stayed quiet, her eyes filled with a deep, lingering sadness. Jungkook, is it because of the child? Is that why you don't want to start over with him? YN shook her head quickly. No, it's not that at all. Jungkook, do you just not love him anymore? YN didn't say a word. Jungkook, if you truly don't have feelings for him and don't want to work at his house, fine. I'll buy you a ticket back to Busan myself, you don't have to pay me back. I'll even call a few contacts to make sure you have a job waiting for you there. YN looked down, fidgeting with her fingers as her expression grew even more somber. Seokjin, YNSSI, you still have feelings for him, don't you? If you do, why not just go back to him? YN, if I go back to Taehyung, I'll only drive a wedge between him and his mother. Mrs. Kim despises me. And my own mother and brother, they'll never accept him after everything that happened, she whispered. YN, if we get back together, everything just gets more complicated, she added softly. Jungkook, YN nothing in this world is ever smooth sailing. Life is full of complications, it's just part of the journey. There isn't a single soul on this earth who doesn't face trials or struggles. Jungkook, but YN God never gives us a burden heavier than we can bear. Jungkook, you can get through this. You and Taehyung can face it together and find your happiness. The tears finally broke through as YN listened to Jungkook's words. She hung her head, letting the tears stream down her cheeks in silence. The next day, Sunday, 7 a.m. Taehyung's residence. Taehyung was busy looking after his son. Since it was Sunday, YN was off duty according to the terms of her contract. He handled the toddler with practiced care, eventually carrying him into the kitchen for breakfast. Taehyung, wait right here, okay. Daddy is going to make you some breakfast. The little boy nodded eagerly, babbling away in his own world. In the middle of preparing the meal, the doorbell suddenly rang. Taehyung hurried to see who it was and was stunned to find YN standing on his doorstep. Taehyung, YN he breathed, pulling the door open. YN, did you change the passcode? Taehyung, nodding, I didn't want a repeat of what happened yesterday, so I changed it for security. YN, nodding, where's Tayo? Taehyung, he's in the kitchen. Taehyung was about to ask why she was there on her day off, but she was already heading inside. In the kitchen, Tayo's face lit up instantly. He started clapping his tiny hands the moment he saw her. Tayo. Mom. Mommy. He shrieked, laughing with pure joy. YN, smiling as she ruffled his hair. Hello, sweetheart. Taehyung. YN YN turned around and stepped closer to him. I'll finish making breakfast for Tayo. You should go get ready. Taehyung. Ready for what? He asked, confused. YN, you need to go see your mother and apologize to her. Taehyung, letting out a long sigh. YN YN, you have to apologize. I won't have you treating your mother poorly. Go and make amends for how you acted yesterday. Taehyung, she went too far with you, YN She hasn't even apologized for what she did to you. YN, I'm telling you to apologize not because you defended me, but because you were physically rough with her. You pushed her, and she hit her head. Taehyung, don't be cruel to women, especially not to your own mother. I don't want the man I love to be someone who treats his mother that way. Taehyung froze. His heart skipped a beat at her words. Taehyung, YN YN gave him a small, soft smile. I wanted so badly to run away from you, but my heart forced me back here. Kim Taehyung, I'm giving you one more chance. But if you ever fall for another woman's trap again, I will seriously kill you. Taehyung's eyes immediately welled up. A massive, radiant smile broke across his face as he pulled her into a fierce embrace. In's tears began to flow as she hugged him back, squeezing her eyes shut. Taehyung, thank you. Thank you so much, YN he sobbed into her shoulder. YN stayed silent, burying her face against him, cherishing the warmth she had missed for so long. God, please bless our path ahead, she prayed silently. Please grant us happiness, no matter how many obstacles we have to face.